All right. Hello, everybody. I got to take that off. I got to take that screen off. There we go. Let me take that off. I'm glad to see everybody here. Now, I know this is not simulcasting on the Gypsy Road channel, so hopefully they'll move over. But I know they'll eventually see it, but tonight's kind of cool because it is, there's some movies mixed. There's actually a real folklore story about these death worms, these Mongolian death worms. I mean, it's kind of a cool little history, and how many movies, all these movies that have them in there, and it's fucking awesome.
It is.
It really is. Let me share technically if nobody knows what it is. Now, this is, of course, what the Google of course, Wikipedia is saying. The Mongolian deathworm is a creature alleged to exist in the Gobi Desert. The creature first came to Western attention as a result of Roy Chapman Andrews' 1926 book On the Trail of Ancient Man. So this folklore has been going back all the way since the book in 1926. So this story is a long time now. Now there's actually there we go. There's actually two different versions of the Mongolian deathworm. Some people believe the deathworm has always been there, but some people believe that the Mongolian deathworm was created by man, by nuclear testing, because in this desert they did do nuclear testing. I'm gonna share a screen here. I want to show. Let me see here. Show a beginning of blah blah blah. Where is it?
And everybody knows that in the desert things get very strange. But real quick, I just want to introduce my buddy Tyler. He is the host of Bigfoot and the Citizen Scientist podcast. That is definitely a mouthful, but he provides so much, guys. He is out there in the West, just like Eryx. They can pretty much see each other from their mountains. But Tyler is most of the time set up on Mount Hood doing Sasquatch research. And he also has a podcast, and he's very cool with Cliff Brackman and Connor Anderson and all the other guys at the Bigfoot Museum. And gals, too. Of course, Melissa runs the place as well.
And tonight, he's talking death worms.
Yes, he is a cryptid specialist, so this is right up his alley.
Well, in the beginning of the 1998 movie Godzilla, the American version of Godzilla, which I actually really liked, really enjoyed, a lot of people did not. And I think they didn't like it because Godzilla did not look like Godzilla. I think if they would have named this lizard something else, people would have liked it more. But in the beginning, in this Godzilla story, Godzilla was developed from nuclear testing. Okay, you can see here nuclear testing, and then creatures like lizards mutate into, in this one he mutates to Godzilla, but I mean they mutate now. Also in the very first remake of 1998 Godzilla movie, there's the nuclear blast, and a lot of people don't realize testing sites, nuclear radiation does mutate. Animals do mutate. And who knows how far, with testing that goes on these places, how far a mutation can happen. I mean, it can happen. Now, here I'm gonna pop another scene in the very first Godzilla movie. Then I want to hear your guys' opinion. Now, here's another scene in Godzilla. If you guys remember this, let me get it up. I had to exit out of it because I got a lot of YouTube apps up on here, tabs up.
I love the Matthew Broderick Godzilla, of course, as well.
Now, remember this. In this movie, the Matthew Broderick, he's the worm guy. Okay. He was brought on to help with Godzilla, but he was the worm guy. And in this scene, you can see that he was sticking in bars. He was causing electricity to get the worms to come up. See?
Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
It is because when you go back to those worms, the reason he was doing this in this movie Godzilla, because radiation gets into the soil, it gets into the ground, and he was showing testing to see how large these worms were getting because of all the radiation testing. So you could say that the theory about man created death worms, well, enough radiation, who knows what these things can mutate into. And I know, Connor, you're talking about King Kong had worms, but did you remember the 1998 actually had a scene with these worms in it, doing testing with electricity?
I didn't remember that, no, but of course, now that you refresh it, it kind of rings a bell that he was the worm guy, and it all makes sense, of course, because it starts underground and then the seismic graphs, and just like Tremors, man, it all starts with rumbling underground. And Godzilla, Tremors, the new King Kong, the old King Kong, they're all linked in my eyes because Middle Earth is right below us, and there is so much that lies beneath and inside within the pillars of Earth. It's labyrinths of caverns for miles and miles.
Yeah. And I wanted to show this because I wanted to show people about this. Godzilla was about how these creatures were created because of radiation. I'm not saying this created death worms, but the story goes about death worms is, if anybody knows some of the story, is if death worms will bite you. Okay, now I'm not talking about Tremors, how they're overlarged, but death worms would bite you, and like other predators, death worms is known to spit this stuff on your body. Okay, yep. In the thumbnail, the worm that I'm riding, you can see him spitting out this thing, and what it is it's almost like the movie The Fly, where it spits onto the skin to start to melt it so the worm can eat you and you dissolve in its body. Now, Connor, you live in areas where there's a lot of snakes. When snakes eat their prey, they swallow the prey and they start dissolving. They don't just eat it like crunch it. They actually start dissolving the animal within itself.
That's amazing. That's really scary too. I'm definitely still a little bit more scared of venomous snakes than constrictors. But then again, I haven't seen a large boa or anaconda that could just, constrict me and crunch my bones and then eat me, just like it would eat a deer twice my size.
Go to the Amazon, bro.
Yeah, soon I definitely plan on it. But not a lot of people know that Alabama is America's Amazon, and there are so many waterways over there, and there are caiman, crocodile, anaconda, pretty much everything that's over there is there. The feral people are Alabamians and not Amazonians, but maybe Wonder Woman, they have their own Wonder Woman over there in Alabama, and Huggin' Molly can hug me.
Here's a potential question. What would the worm, if it was real, taste like? Well, for one thing, you can actually eat a worm. Worms are pure protein. Yep. I mean, if you're starving, there was even a scene in the Walking Dead show when Daryl was out in the woods. He was hungry. He was digging up in the ground. He was actually eating worms. The worms actually have a lot of protein. It's actually, in a weird way, healthy for you. Now, I'm not going to eat a worm, because it's sliding me down my throat, but you can, and it's not bad for you.
I plan
on eating the radiation worms.
Here soon.
I don't know about the death worms, but
Tyler, what is the craziest thing you've had to eat in your desperate moments of while you're out camping? When things go wrong, what have you had to do?
To be honest with you, man, I'm always super prepared. I've never had to eat anything crazy. I always have MREs for backup if worst case scenario. So there's an MRE could be accountable or accounted for.
Yeah, 100%. I had some expired MREs after the hurricane, and some of those I'd rather have eaten worms out of the dirt. 100%, man. The way I could still smell some of the stuff that was in there, and it's like just disgusting. But yeah, man, that is pretty crazy that Well, it's not crazy, but it's smart on your end. But I've been in, really desperate situations, so it's pushed me to the edge of. And what made you get so prepared? Did you ever have any close calls when you were younger?
I've come close once to where I thought I was lost, and it was enough. I was lost for like 4 or 5 hours, which is not that long at all. But when you're lost, it feels like a whole day and a half, 2 days.
Yeah, 4 and 5 hours is definitely a long time, long enough time for you to go missing or get dehydrated. And you're out there in the Oregon mountains, so yeah, things could definitely go wrong and sideways very quick.
Yeah, no, I have eaten like grasshoppers and worms and ants and stuff like that, but I've never been forced into it.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up hunting, and you learn to go prepared. Have enough food. Usually, the only thing people run out of is usually beer and liquor. It seems like beer and liquor always gets run out, but we always have plenty of food. And then I always see people driving back into the mountain towns to buy some more beer.
It's true.
But remember, now I'm so extra prepared because I have buckets of food that was sent to me.
Yes. 4 weeks worth. 2
4
buckets.
weeks.
That's pretty cool. A whole month.
Well, yeah. I'm always, I'm thinking about in the future, we're going to get ourselves a trailer, and that's something perfect to put in a trailer where you buy your food, but if you run out, it'll last 24 years.
You're set for a month at least, and then you could find some grape vineyard to ravage from to keep you alive for 2 more weeks. But man, it's going to be crazy if the volcanoes burst and then Florida gets taken over by the ocean. We're all going to have to move to freaking Idaho, and a lot of people go missing in Idaho. So I think it's all the grand design of the fairies and the ancient ones of the forest. And wait until the Mongolian death worms are spotted in the Arizona desert. We will be apocalypse.
Hey, Idaho is a beautiful state. I mean, it really is. My father was born in Idaho. That's where he was raised, in Idaho, before they moved to California. I drove through Idaho plenty of times, going to Maryland, going to New York before. They're beautiful countries.
It's a really safe spot right in the center of the country. So I'm looking forward to moving there.
You're right. You're right. We all live on states that technically could fall into the ocean.
Yeah.
I looked at all the 4 places that I have lived. Of course, I was born and raised in California, in Fresno. And then I lived in Washington, coastline. Then I was stationed in the Coast Guard in Cape May, New Jersey, coastline. And then I lived in New York, coastline. And then I lived in Maryland, that was technically coastline. I've only lived in the states that were connected to the ocean. I'm like, why have I never lived in the middle of the states?
That's pretty trippy. Yeah, that's pretty cool though. I've lived in Ohio and Florida and then road tripped across America, but I've always wished to live, by the ocean. And now that I do, I definitely take advantage of it. But growing up, I always thought if you live by the ocean, you go there every single day. Like life revolves around the ocean, of course. When you're on the beach as a kid, you're like, oh my gosh, nothing's better than this.
Now, I found this video on YouTube. I'm not going to sit here and say these five giant worms caught on cameras are real. I'm not going to say that, but I thought that'd be fun to look at and to get you guys an opinion. Like I said, anybody with the camera can trick the camera to make it look things, but for the hell of it, for the show, I thought, hey, why not? It'd be kind of fun to check this out. Now, this is going to be the first one where this video was shot in Iraq. Now, apparently, this is supposed to be a giant creature that broke the road.
Hey,
With that one, I mean, like I said, I can't tell you if it's real or not, but you don't actually get to see the worm, but you saw something that supposedly broke the road. Now, of course, is it fake? I can't tell you, but so what do you guys think of that first one?
Tyler, let it rip.
It's hard for me to say. It almost looks like an IED going off, but it looks like there's mass underneath the dirt. So I'm 50-50 on that.
Yeah.
That's about what I was saying, because it looks like it could be a bomb, when you think like possibilities. But man, it does look like something strange, and there's a lot of strange stories in the deserts and mountains of Afghanistan and Iraq, and a lot of other strange places that we have troops set up. So yeah, it's very interesting to me.
Now, some of these we've all seen on different videos. I've seen some of these before.
Yeah, I love this footage.
Now, we've all seen this one, where some people are saying that's actually a death worm.
Hey, I like it. Gyarados.
I mean, there is something in there. And, people say, well, it could be sticks or something. But the thing is, you got like one piece of white and then water, then white, then water. And it looks like it's all following each other.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely something very long. What's weird is I think that's ice, but like why does it have ice chunks like on parts of its back? Maybe it was just chilling on the coast for a while and got ice chunks. I think it's very cool footage, and it's definitely something. They'll try to tell you it's a sturgeon or it's debris, but it's definitely something.
I haven't seen it. I've heard of videos of like pieces of ice that have been broke off of icebergs getting caught in riptides and stuff. So, but that's a really peculiar looking line for that to be the case. I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like it's swimming. It looks really cool.
I'll play that one a little bit in slow motion to see if we. Yes, definitely it is. It is a little interesting.
Yeah, it has a little like tail whirl to it too. So it's not even just like a natural flow. It had some personality behind it.
Right.
Now here's another one. Let me see. I don't know where it says this one's at, but I've seen this one too. Okay. A famous video filmed by a 67-year-old farmer in Iceland in 2012. It shows what a large worm. Now another ice kind of a worm. So there's apparently one in Alaska. Now this one is Iceland. Another ice worm. Let's see. And you can see it like the other one, kind of like a snake in the water.
Yep. Yeah, it's some type of serpent, some type of Bessie, Nessie, Chessie, Altamaha serpent.
Now I'm not a snake expert at all, but I know in Florida you guys have snakes. Can snakes? Now snakes are warm-blooded snakes, right? I mean they need warmth, right? Because they can't survive in ice water. Or am I wrong?
They're cold-blooded, but
they're cold-blooded. They're cold-blooded.
It would take some type of special creature to survive in there. Maybe a type of eel, or some type of serpent. That's why I don't like calling them snakes, because I think it's a little bit of lizard behind it too. There's something more than just snake. But as we saw in a couple of the later Tremors movies, these graboids, they show themselves in the snow as well. So really anything's possible.
Yeah. Oh yeah. In the Tremors movies, they keep mutating to now they have legs and stuff, but that's kind of fun. Let's see here. Let's see if there's let me see anything else this thing does. No. Okay. So let's go to the next one. Let's see. Where is?
And guys, shout out to the Seattle Kraken, Eric and Tyler's new hockey team out there in Seattle. Now let's bring back the Seattle Supersonics. Not many people know that the mascot was a Sasquatch, guys, the Supersonics.
Yeah.
Even the NBA knew that Sasquatch has supersonic skills. So come on, let's catch up to the NBA.
Yeah, we need the NBA. And I always hate it when people say, that's the waste of money. That's the waste of taxpayers' money with these teams. And I'm like, you know how much tax money is generated because of these teams? I mean, anybody knows Seattle area, there's a town called Renton. It's a piece of shit, ugly town. But when they built the Seahawks practice field in Renton, it actually brought money into the town. It made the town better. Restaurants started opening up, better fast food. So sports teams does help the economy in these towns, people. So I always hate that bullshit crap. We're wasting our money. No, it actually creates some money for your towns.
Oh, 100%. It creates jobs, and then it creates revenue. Yeah. There we go.
A giant worm was shot from King Kong Skull Island. Oh, here, use the worm. It's not that. So this was shot in King Kong Skull Island. Okay. All right.
Yeah. It looks like a giant lamprey, though. So, if a lamprey got very large, a vampire lamprey,
yeah,
it would look like that. That's awesome.
That's kind of what they look. That's kind of what they look like too. It's just creepy.
100%.
It is creepy. And let's see what number one is here.
I wonder where their eyes are. They just sense. They don't have eyes. They just
don't have eyes.
They sense vibrations. They're all about the vibrations.
That's so crazy.
That's why Tremors was so well done, because it's vibration. I think it was a part 2 where they brought a bed so they can not create a vibration on the ground.
Yeah.
Here we go. So this is number one. Let's see.
What? That? Oh. What is going on here?
I know, right? The strange giant worm was caught in the waters of the Philippines. The creature is black, and his body looks like a silicone cube.
Yeah, it gives me giant squid vibes.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool just to look at,
Yeah, right there in the bottom left corner right there, that's the Kentucky monkey, man. Love that footage too. Very cool. Yeah, man, after Tremors came out, I did that Google search many times, real life Tremors, and Mongolian death worm always popped up. One funny story I have is at my grandparents' farm, I was down there at the cow barn, and I actually fell through the floor through some bad wood, and I caught myself in my chest with my elbows, and I was like, the Tremors are getting me, and I was screaming that to my family, and it was just so classic, and they will swear by that. It happened 1,000,000%. It was classic, and they pulled me up. Luckily the graboids didn't pull me to my death, but yeah, look at that. Look at the size earthworms get.
I mean, as I'm saying, they do get large, and look right there. Now mix a little radiation, little nuclear testing.
100%. And just after time, things adapt a little bit. If it got eaten too many times, it's gonna have to grow some spikes.
Those are earthworms?
Yes.
Holy cow!
There are earthworms that are this big. That's a fact.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen them that size, but I've seen them pretty big.
It's like a survivalist dream.
Yeah, for real. You could just kill one earthworm and literally live probably a year. Les Stroud was eating little earthworms like 3 inches and doing fine. So imagine that thing, the width on that. It reminds me of my worm.
Well, think about it. A little mutation, their teeth gets a little stronger. I mean, you add a little jump to them. These things could be dangerous.
Yeah, 100%. It strangles you around your neck. It makes you trip and you break your neck. It could, it could crash your car. It could give you a heart attack. It could choke a fish.
What is this? Fossil hunters find giant predatory worm's lair.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about. These worms with spikes. The horned worm. The wereworm.
Yeah. Look at that one. That one looks like a snake.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's very cool.
I wonder if that one is some kind of snake and they're trying to pull it off as a worm.
Oh, man.
I mean, I don't know. And look how they shed and stuff.
That's crazy, man. Slugs are very similar to worms, too. There's a lot of cool worm-like, bugs and creatures out there.
Yeah. So I don't think death worms are really a far-stretched story. I mean, they're over large, add some teeth, and then
100%.
protection. I don't know about that one.
Yeah. Just like in Poltergeist 2, there's that worm in the tequila, and then it takes a demon form.
There's the worm of Star Wars you're talking about.
Yeah. Star Wars 5. And I love it, too, in pod racing. I actually have it right here on N64. This has the same worms, too. When you're going through the tunnels on the races, those monsters come out. Yeah, this is a classic game, guys. We sell it at our shop, but this is my original one that I've had since I was like 8 years old, back in 2000. Yeah, it came out probably 2001 or 2002.
That's a fun game. That's the one where you could upscale your drive, make the engine a little stronger, a little faster. And each pod racer does something better. Like one's faster, one controls better.
Yep.
I can't remember which one I always picked.
You remember the first level though, how it was a canyon and there was like all the open lands, and then there was that small little cavern that you had to get through, and that's where everybody, made it or braked it.
Look at these wormholes.
Yeah, and then add in wormholes. What if these giant worms underground are entering wormholes and portals, and they're like super enlightened, and all they can do is, sense vibes? It's pretty crazy. They don't get in the way of visuals and hearing things. They just go straight to energy and vibrations. That's some next level stuff. You got to think the Sasquatch could probably contact the worms down there, and they just go with the whole ground. And you guys all saw Suicide
Squad. They feed on the worms. They probably eat the worms.
100%. I took that video of that palm tree that was ripped apart, and we definitely thought they were grabbing grubs through there, just like Timon and Pumbaa. Just eating the grubs straight from all the bark. That's definitely what the Sasquatch do. That's definitely what a lot of animals do.
Let me share this. Now, of course, this is the movie Tremors. I made a music video of today, but you can see. I'm just showing this so you can see what that worm looks like. These got the 3 teeth, kind of like. It kind of reminds me of Stormtroopers a little bit.
Yeah. It's definitely got a beetle vibe.
And I try to remember the creature in Vin Diesel. Was that one?
Bloodshot, or is it a Witch Hunter?
One of his first ones. Vin Diesel.
Oh, Pitch Black.
Yeah, weren't there creatures almost like that too?
They kind of had that. I just remember like a small, I don't know, gremlin-like creature. Definitely from like Riddick.
Yeah, Riddick. What was that first one called again?
Pitch Black.
Pitch Black. I want to see. Yeah. I'm going to type in Pitch Black creatures.
Yeah. Pitch Black was really cool because he had Vin Diesel and Cole Hauser, and Cole Hauser played Carter Verone, the bad guy in Too Fast, Too Furious. So it's kind of cool that Vin Diesel, who had a very small part in Too Fast, Too Furious, shared the screen with a guy that, was also in his franchise.
Okay, now, yeah, that's what they look like. Okay.
Hey, that's somewhat similar, I'd say.
Well, I was looking at the three teeth, and they have the teeth up and down on this one.
Yeah, that's very similar. Then the teeth are the bioraptors.
And then there's
I'm working on a short film right now with Jack McClellan from Altered Cortex Design, and it is looking so crazy. It started off as a Bigfoot movie and a crazy beast, and then they hit us with that we had to have a black cat in the movie. And bro, Jack makes these crazy props and stuff, and it's about to be so crazy and scary. Oh man, I'm so excited and super pumped to be a part of it. And he's writing the script now, and I have to memorize a bunch of lines because I'm the lead role. So it's gonna be very cool. It's definitely my first time having a responsibility for acting. Most of the time, it's all just be me.
Send me a link, bro.
Oh yeah, I definitely will. You'll have to check out. Everybody has to check out Altered Cortex Design. He's made a Bigfoot documentary with the Bridge family, and then he also made a movie called Lost and Found that's free on YouTube. And there's a thing called an idol. It's this cursed object that it's looks like a man, and it's crazy. And I'm super excited, man. It's about to turn into something magical. It's for a film festival. So the link's actually the movie's not gonna be put on YouTube. That way we can submit it to a bunch of film festivals, and we're gonna try to go on tour with it. I'm really excited.
Why not? Why not? Yeah, because once you put it on YouTube, I don't think they'll accept it anymore.
Yeah, not a lot of them. Once it's free to YouTube, it's exempt from the list. But if you have it on something that they have to buy it for $3.99 or something, then you can submit it to a bunch of stuff. And it's more about the project, but of course you want a good release. And if I could go to a bunch of different screenings and try to meet some pretty actresses, then let's do it.
Yeah, you only need one person from a studio from saying, "Oh, I like this. I like what they're doing here."
Oh, they're gonna like it. And Jack's already got a pretty good little resume already and a cool reputation because he's a Florida State student that really pushes the limits. And Florida State's a real, I wouldn't say liberal, but they just like to play by the rules. So then you got Jack, who's blood, gore, guts, and just creatures and monsters, and oh yeah, he's awesome.
So is your citizen science podcast on YouTube, or is it streaming books? Not books, but what do you call the Anchor, whatever?
Yeah,
Spotify.
I actually publish through Anchor, and I also have a YouTube account that I upload my interviews to. And I usually add extra bonus content to my YouTube channels on the interviews. My latest interview with Connor, I added a few of his YouTube videos from his channel in, and and his songs and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, it's very cool, and he has interviewed me twice, and you've posted your one sit down with Cliff.
How do I find it? What do I gotta type in to find your channel?
Oh, you haven't?
No, I did a sit down with Connor Anderson from
your audio from Cliff. What was that? Was that an expo or a convention?
Yeah, that was I'm a member of the museum, and we get personalized sit down talks and monthly meetings.
That's awesome.
that he hosts. So that's what that was.
That's very cool. Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about that real quick, just for people that don't know about Cliff and his museum and the club and everything?
Oh yeah. If you go to NorthAmericanBigfootCenter.com, that's Cliff Barackman's Bigfoot Museum website, and you can buy membership there and help support him during some crazy times going on right now. That's his passion, and you can tell. If you live local, or they have people this summer, they've had people from like North Carolina, Georgia, like all over the place coming through. But they have foot casts, casts that have been verified by like Dr. Jeff Meldrum. Inside there, they have local sighting information stuff, and in the museum itself, they have all sorts of crazy stuff, ranging from Native American names and lore all the way to hoaxing. So, and they have a little theater inside the museum where you can sit down and watch a breakdown video of some usually local footage that they get. So, yeah.
I love your Bigfoot picture right there. He's got that mouth really open.
Thank you. The reason I picked that photo actually is about 3 years ago, I had my own sighting up outside of Estacada, Oregon, and that face is almost identical to what I saw. I saw a juvenile tree peeking from behind, like probably 20 yards away at max. Yeah. So it's funny. I actually just got flack over that because a lot of people think that's a real picture.
Yeah, I actually witnessed that. Yeah, someone was trying to call him out and be like, "Oh, you know that's not a real picture," and he's like, "Yeah, I know it's art. Like I picked it on purpose." And the person didn't even know what to say. It's silly, but yeah, I definitely suggest everybody go check out the first and last video on his channel if you're not going to check out any other ones. It's yours truly, and I love watching my first video, you know, when we first linked up, and it was actually the second time we linked up because we did a full interview and the audio went jank. So we just linked back up and redid it, and it was very, very cool. And it was like 3 hours long, and I still watch it from time to time, and I just love the progression that we've all went through since. And you know, those were a little bit easier times in the world before that. But yeah, man, that's very cool.
Absolutely.
No, that is cool. So you live in Oregon. So how often do you go out and out in the woods and do some research?
When my car's not acting like an old piece of poop, I usually spend about 5 days a week, 6 days a week out and on Mount Hood right now. I have a research camp, base camp set up on the mountain, and it doesn't matter, on the east side of the mountain, and
they'll probably fall into a portal before they even find where you are. You know, guys, be safe if you're even in that triangle. Mount Rainier, Mount Hood, Mount St. Helens. God dang, all that is pretty crazy over there. But yes, keep on, Tyler.
I've heard some crazy stuff up there, man. Like I wouldn't really say Bigfoot even. Like I've heard, like I've told you, Connor, so like a claw-based sound up in the tree behind camp. I've heard like in specifically when the wind's blowing, I hear like whispers and like low talking in the wind all the time. Not just me, whoever else is up at camp too, all the time. So it's interesting that there's a lot of crazy energies up at my camp. If you follow the camp, if you go back into the back of my camp, it goes into like some thick trees with a bunch of deadfall. It's a big section of deadfall, and then it opens up, and there's like a little creek that comes through, and it's all dried up right now. But that's where I found that my last footprint I cast, and up there the whole time it was weird, man. We two of my friends, and I didn't smell it at all, smelled like a straight raw sewage smell, which, I mean, it could have been Sasquatch related, but it was like, they said it was like they were in a sewer. And then later that night at camp, I smelt it, but they didn't smell it. And it was super weird. And it only lasted for like 5-10 seconds at max that the smell was around. So I don't know.
So what? So here's Oregon, and is you don't have to tell me the exact location, because I know you don't want a lot of people to go up there, but are you behind, are your mountain areas, you go behind the Portland area, or?
I'm closer to like Hood River area.
Okay.
So that would be east.
Okay, you go more east. Okay.
Yeah.
And Tyler, where did you find that one twist off back in the day? You came upon a little structure that you actually picked up and took. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah. So that was back up in or outside of Estacada in the Ripplebrook area, up off of Highway 224. That was, I say was, because I can't get to it right now because all the wildfires I just spread through.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll close down. But that was 3 different very significant Bigfoot research investigators hotspot that I was given privy information to privately. And so I can't give an exact location. I don't ever give exact locations. I feel like that curates lazy researchers. Go find your own spots. But anyways, I was that was kind of up in that area, and me and one of my other buddies. This was actually I have this recorded as on an episode as everything was taking place on my podcast, and we went back behind camp, just followed this little trail, and it was thick trees and woods. We had to like move branches aside to keep going forward. And it opens up into this like almost like circle, like empty circle with like green grass growing. And it was like just trees all around. And with a major tree to the right and one, so it was like a doorway of trees almost, with a game trails going all over out of this opening. And it was about 100 yards away from my camp inside in the forest. And on this, on the tree on the right that makes these 2 trees makes the door up, there's this branch, and it was completely snapped, it was twisted, and it was like, upon examination, it looked like it was wrung out like you would wring a rag out, like it was like wrung, and it was probably 3 centimeters in diameter. I'm guessing it wasn't too thick, but I had my buddy Matt, who was quite a bit sturdier than me, try to replicate it, and he couldn't. He ended up cutting his finger on the branch from the resistance. And so I took that and I put it in a plastic evidence bag, which I still have. And we went about our night, had some other happenings. I swear I saw Eyeshine that night, like probably 10 yards away from where we were sitting around our fire at. And then later that night, we ended up in the tent, and I had just fallen asleep and got woken up to like what felt like bowling balls being dropped on the ground, like a ton of them, like 50 pound bowling balls being dropped from like 15 feet up off the ground. It's like, and it woke me up. Like I felt it in my chest. So all of a sudden I start hearing footsteps outside my tent. Just up, I'm on one side of it. It's a 3-person pop-up tent. I'm on one side, and my buddy's on the other. And my car is right in between, probably like 10 feet from the door. The back of my car is from the tent. So there's that little gap. And then the fire is probably 25 to 40 feet away from the other side of my tent. And then on one side of the tent is woods, and the other side is the road. where we're parked off of, and all of a sudden these footsteps come from the woods area, and I'm frozen stiff all of a sudden because it sounds bipedal. I don't hear a quadruped footsteps happening, and then all of a sudden I hear at the front of my tent footsteps, and they start moving their way around my tent and going around. And all of a sudden, it sounds like there's maybe 2, 3, maybe 4 of them, just like walking around outside. And at this point, my heart's throbbing super fast, like it's going super quick. And my eyes are closed tight. I don't want to open them because I don't want to see what's going on. I'm a researcher, but I'm also a very, very, very big scaredy cat when it comes to dark in the woods and unknown big things that could kill me. And so when I say this, I hope people understand. When you're laying down by yourself, there's a certain personal bubble. There's a space you can feel if someone's breaking your bubble. So this is what I'm going off of this whole time. What I'm about to explain. So I feel the tent wall start coming in, and it starts invading my bubble, and it starts getting closer and closer and closer. My arm is outside of my sleeping bag. I'm a side sleeper. And at this point, I was on my back, freaking out because I was just frozen stiff. And the wall is coming in closer and closer and closer. And all of a sudden, I start feeling like a little bit of pressure on my arm. And it insists and keeps going and keeps pushing down until I can fully feel what I think is 3 fingertips just pushing down on my forearm at a moderate level. It didn't hurt. It was like a, hey, I'm here. And it was just a one solid pressure is what I felt. And at this point, I'm pretty much doing anything but pissing myself. It's I couldn't breathe. I didn't know what to do. And out of nowhere, I just got the idea to just sniff really loud. It was dead quiet. I was right by electrical lines. And so all there was the electrical buzzing going on. There was no bugs or anything going on. And so I go, and I sniff really loud. And as loud as I could. And it being quiet, it was loud. And all of a sudden, the pressure just lightly lifts off my arm. It wasn't like a hard, or it wasn't like a quick jolt, quick jerk. It wasn't anything like that. It was like lightly pulling off my arm slowly. And I could slowly feel the tent. I could feel the tent wall slowly retracting back from me. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, my eyes are still closed tight. Now, before we went to bed, I'm getting ahead of myself. Before we went to bed, and I'm always weird about it. You can ask my buddy Matt that was with me. I am super weird about putting the fire out. I'll put 5-gallon buckets of water on it. I'll pee on it. I'll do whatever. I shovel it up. And there was no coals or anything. Back to my story. It pulls away from the tent wall. My eyes are closed tight, but it's pitch black outside. And all of a sudden, I can see light out of in my eyelids. And the fire had kicked back up. I have no clue how it kicked back up, but it did. And it was blazing. It wasn't just a little fire, it was just blazing. And I started whispering my buddy's name. He's not replying. He's not replying at all, dude. And I'm like, Matt. He's like, I'm like, I didn't know what to say. I was speechless. I was like, did you just encounter that? He's like, what? Wait, why is the fire lit? First thing out of his mouth, dude. First full sentence.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know, dude, but something just touched me in the tent. And he was like, he jerked awake real quick. He was like, what? I was like, yeah, dude, it woke me, something woke me up, banging on the ground or something. He's like, dude, I got woken up from that too. I was like, what? Oh, one thing I left out. I was trying to get his attention before this thing touched me, I was trying to get my buddy Matt's attention, like trying to wake him up, like, dude, what did you hear that? What was that?
Yeah.
He wasn't replying either, like the entire time. Wasn't replying. And as soon as he said, like, he got woken up, I was like, you dude, next time, answer me. Like, but he was so scared he didn't want to talk.
Yeah, that's crazy. I would definitely be scared to death too, and just frozen. And if it could, if you could go back, would you have taken the twist off? You know, to cause all this cause and effect chain reaction.
For the chain reaction aspect, yes, because I would love to experience something like that again. But for what I feel to be utter disrespect to them and their things in their house, no.
Do you think they were angry at you or just checking you out? How do you think that all happened?
I've been asked that before, and I don't quite know how to reply. I can say this. I never felt any menace out of it, but I had never had contact like that before ever either. So, which is the only reason why I jumped to the conclusion that me taking that stick twist and me being touched in the tent at night had correlation. Like there was something correlated there.
Definitely.
But yeah.
Eric, I think you definitely have to hit up Tyler's camp out spot. You know, I know they're different spots, but you guys should definitely spend a couple nights out there and document it. Maybe
Northwest is out there. Number one for Bigfoot sightings. We had a show last week. Washington is number one. And of course, Oregon's connected with Washington.
Well, you got the Olympic project that's pulling.
Look at that. That's incredible. That's a big hand right there.
That came out of the nesting site, out of the Olympic Peninsula. That was cast by Cliff Berkman.
Wow. That's incredible. How many footprints have you casted yourself?
Uno.
Nice. I have casted one as well. I just casted one in the cave last week. That is very cool. Yeah. I wish I had mine right now. It's at my mom's house along with the other relics I find.
And then this one is from British Columbia.
Wow.
That
is incredible.
Let's see if we can give some relevance to the size of this.
Yeah.
This one.
Even just the size of it next to you and your body is crazy. I love seeing that big toe. It goes off big, man.
Here we go. Here's just a normal. Can you guys see that?
Yeah, we can see it. Dang. That is like a size 18 or 19. Probably even bigger than that.
Yeah. It was
that handprint though is incredible. That shows how big their hands really are. They could just crush our skull like we can squeeze an orange.
Yeah, and that was out of Washington, dude. We do have reported pretty big Sasquatch reports, but like out of it, like British Columbia and that region, dude, ours are mild. Like which is scary to think about.
You know? 100%. It go in that whole corner, and then it falls all the way to Alaska, and you have Port Chatham and all that. But yeah, BC is filled with them. Washington, Oregon, the Trailblazers, man, right there.
Yeah,
yep.
And, people don't realize researching Bigfoot in the Northwest is not as easy as people think it is because our forest is so thick. Growing up in California, going to Yosemite National Park, going to those mountains, all the trees are not so compact. No. You camp up here. It's dark. It's you're in the freaking world. It's almost like the rainforest. Almost like it's crazy. It's like you say, when you go more to British Columbia, it's even more crowded with all the trees and stuff, and it's scary stuff. You out there all alone because you scream, nobody's gonna hear you.
Dude, I'll say this to add to what you're saying. My camp alone is at 7,500 foot elevation on Mount Hood, so it's high up. super high up. Like I can see into like Eastern Oregon, Idaho. I can see like the entirety of that region. And the trees up there back behind my camp are so thick, and the ground is so like dry and crazy, and there's so much dead falling everywhere. It's super easy to get lost. Like you can like I have to have my Google. I've been like, wait, where am I? Several times, like 200-300 yards from my camp, and that's high up, like with like thinner trees. So you start climbing down the mountain, and it becomes thick, dude. There's sections on the mountain that I won't walk into, just simply because if you lose anything, any like GPS or anything like that, what are you gonna do, man? Like you're literally turned around, and that wilderness goes for miles.
It does. I mean, when we hunt in California, you know, you can get up on top of a hill, you camp, you sit there, and you wait for the deer to come. But in Washington, it's a little different story. You just can't up there because, I mean, you got tree. I mean, you actually have to earn it. You have to work it. And why is there a lot of Bigfoot sightings? Because there's so many places for Bigfoot to hide. That's why people are like, well, how come you haven't captured one? I go, you ever try to deer hunt in these mountains? I mean, you earn whatever you get.
Yeah,
you know, and find a foot in that is hard. And people are like, well, I go, and you always tell people, okay, listen, bears, they die all the time. Do you actually ever find bear guts? Bear, remains? No, you don't. You don't find remains because it's such a big forest and things are gone, vanished. And they all, animals die.
Cliff Barackman's museum, he has a straight up picture he got it from a wildlife biologist out of, I think it was either Washington State or Oregon, one of the two. Either way, it was several pictures. One of them was a deer, one of them was and two different varieties of elk eating bones. Pictures of them eating bones, deer and elk. So deer and elk, I guarantee you, squirrels, rabbits, anything else. That's, dude, like, and any predator is always going to go hide if they're sick or injured or dying. Like that's nature.
Go to Haiti. Watch how they eat chicken wings. You know, they eat the whole bone. So 100%. It has usage. We've mentioned it on our voodoo show. I'm pretty sure about the magic and the power of bones. It's very cool.
Look at the massive forest. I mean, look at the dark green. I mean, these are huge on both sides. Left side, the Olympics. Right side. And, you know, the famous stories about Forks where the movie Twilights are made because it's one of the most rainforest section in the world. I mean, this is not easy country.
No, dude, and we have so many different temperate zones. We have temperate zones all over the region, all over, and temperate zones are very well known hotspot highways. We'll call them.
Yeah.
And it's just something to do with the tree growth. Seems to be more wildlife that follow these temperate zones, more waterways in the temperate zones. It's just more abundance of life, which creates more abundance of life. So
look at Canada. I mean, that's all forests out there. I mean, there's more land than people can handle up in Canada.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. They say the world's population could live in Alaska. That's why you can't buy into the overpopulation crap, because there's still all that forest. How dare they say that? And then they try to limit our resources and, draw us against each other. I ain't falling for it.
How big Alaska is? I mean, it's really bigger than people think it is.
Yeah, I think United States obtained it for a reason as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. People say, well, Alaska's wasted land. Well, America bought it for a reason. Why would we buy a piece of wasted land? It wasn't just because we didn't want the Russians to have it. Come on.
Yeah, Tyler actually sent me a package in the mail a couple months ago, and this was in it. Finding Bigfoot, signed by Cliff Brackman and his wife and Connor Anderson, and personalized to me, and it was very cool, along with a bunch of other goodies, man. It was incredible, and I really enjoyed them and all of it. And I really just enjoy, me linking up with Tyler, because he has definitely a science mind to it all. And you guys know me, I'm a little wacko, so it's a perfect balance. And Tyler definitely likes to, tap into ancient frequencies, and he knows a lot about the old lore and stories behind it all. So I love where we all meet right in the cloud above, Mount Rainier and the Devil's Tower.
Real quick, Connor, I wanted to tell you, last time we spoke, you had brought up Igor Burtsev, and I completely forgot to tell you, this is another little plug for the museum. If you hang out in the museum for long enough, you'll meet famous people. I've met so many people, man. Bob Gimlin met in there. Sorry. Super long day. But anyways,
Igor Burtsev, though.
I met Igor Burtsev in the museum and got to go back and hang out with him for a couple hours.
Yeah.
I got some books from him. One of them that hadn't even been published yet, and I got them all signed and whatnot. It was awesome, dude. But
and
yeah.
Igor Burtsev, guys, is very famous. He's a freaking doctor, but he has put his name out there and stamped it in the Bigfoot world. But just recently, he was at a conference in Oklahoma, and they called him from Russia, and they put it on speakerphone, and there was a Bigfoot on the other line. Bigfoot was talking to Dr. Igor Burtsev online, on the phone, on stage, in front of everybody. It was so magical. So when people say there's no proof, guys, we got Bigfoot making calls, and it's true. And I'm saying it with energy, because it's just like a slap in the face when these people say, we need bones, we need a body. Cheesy Pond Wildman, Mount St. Helens eruption, Dr. Igor Burtsev. Everybody look up the video after this. It's incredible. You can hear the deep samurai chatter, that Carrie Arnold impersonates so very well. But yeah, it's crazy. And then seeing Tyler link up with all these people is really incredible, because I feel like that's, my Kevin Bacon 7 degrees of separation, shout out Tremors. I love being connected to everything and anything, because we all are at our core.
Sorry, I need redemption. Ken Gerhardt and Todd Neese I've met in there. Anyways.
Heck yeah. I've definitely seen some Todd Neese work, but I've heard Gerhardt's name. I'll have to look and refresh myself. That's what's beautiful about this Bigfoot encrypted search. There's so much out there, and I'm looking for monsters, but the researchers are also just as incredible.
Yeah, he's from Texas, so he focuses in a lot of the Texas cryptids and whatnot. But specifically, something that really interests me is he does a lot of study on Loch Ness. So yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm all about the Texas cryptids, the wood boogers, the chupacabra, and just all the there's a Lake Worth monster that it's like a white Yeti type Bigfoot, and then there's a couple frogmen type creatures there in the long state. And then in my book, I have a couple chapters, one in near Texarkana on the east side of the state, and then one in El Paso on the west side of the state, because Florida and Texas are two of the widest states I've ever had to drive across. It takes forever.
Now, before the craziness of the pandemic shut a lot of things down, were you originally going to go to the International Bigfoot Conference in the Tri-Cities when they were going to have it in 2020?
Tyler.
Oh, did he freeze?
Wow, he froze. I thought he was thinking really hard. I was like, hey, man, it's just that Washington Bigfoot conference.
Because I was planning to go to that and I was actually gonna say hi to the Sea Squatchers because we talked on our show. They were going up there. Of course, got canceled, and so far, every time I go back, I don't see a reschedule yet.
I hope they reschedule it here soon. The She Squatchers were just at another event here, kind of on the east side. Man, they've been staying very active. I definitely envy them. I just want to continue their push. Tyler, were you going to that conference that Eric referenced? It was really funny. It froze you right on a thinking pose, and we thought you were just
it dropped me out. I had to do the whole thing. I missed everything that you guys were saying.
No, last year in 2020, they were going to have originally they had an international Bigfoot conference up in the Tri-Cities, the Yakima area, and of course it got canceled. Were you going to go up to that one? Because I was going to go up there and talk to the Sea Squatchers and all that.
I had tickets.
You had tickets?
I had tickets, and then that's as far as I'm going to go because I get myself in trouble with this subject. There's a certain somebody that's at fault that I won't say anything anymore. But that's the reason why. I went to Squatch Fest though instead.
Dope.
So, which in my opinion was better. It was smaller and the same person was there, but it's okay. So yeah,
you'll have to talk to Eric
without knowing you
off air about that because that's crazy. Yeah, you guys could have already been linked, but you'll have to tell him about the background story just because I know Eric's been aware of this conference for 2 years now.
Yeah, I actually met a bunch of at Squatch Fest. There's a local group out of Clackamas. They have they're just it's just two brothers and they just upload YouTube videos, but it's Clackamas Sasquatch Research Group, and they've gotten some pretty crazy stuff, dude. They've gotten rushed and just they've heard grunts and they got it on video. We got them on video, and they get flack and whatnot saying it's fake, but I can tell you, I've met the two guys personally. I've spent time with one of them up in a couple of my spots. They're legit. So yeah.
I'll have to check them out. We'll have to link their page here soon. I definitely appreciate your support on the Bigfoot Odyssey interview that I recently did. A lot of people enjoyed it. Hundreds of people. There's 400 likes. And then there's 50 dislikes, and some people are like, I had to turn it off. I was shaking so bad. And then a bunch of people are saying, rambling on about my style. And it was the researchers' report. I had an hour to give as much as I can and open as many doors as I could. And if they got to watch it back at 0.75 speed, then do it, please.
That's you. I mean, 100%. You were doing it just to get all the information. That's your attitude. You have energy. You love to talk. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I got you. I was watching people in the chat wow, he's shooting this and this and this and this. And then, the host, he's a great guy. He was like, whoa, slow down. I'm like, I guess I'm used to you.
Yeah, you definitely are. Both of you two know me, and you guys know me off of air. And it's honestly not that much different, but you guys see me on these shows too. I could be calm too, but I knew what I was in for. That is the researcher's report, and I am a reporter, so I was reporting. And 100%, I'll be back for a discussion on Sunday Encounters, and I'll have a slower heartbeat. But man, the
those shows are basically 1 hour. They make sure it's 1 hour. Now here, sometimes 1 hour, but we can spread it out as long as we want. But those shows are 1 hour, so you got a lot to squeeze in. You know what I mean? 100%. I mean, it's they're down to the wire. 1 hour. So, yeah, I like that. You look professional.
Yes, Daniela, what's up? How's it going? Thank you for coming. I love having people from all around the world. Literally, Ramiel, he's coming from the Philippines. He was commenting. It's all around the world, different time zones, different days, different cultures. And that's what's cool. The paranormal, cinema, Bigfoot, just the strange. It all links us, I'm a big believer in heaven, in giants.
I'm glad you brought that up. Now, Tyler, I've always believed that paranormal is the one that connects everything. I'm a true believer in the paranormal. I always believe paranormal is like the heart and everything connects to it. Do you feel there's a connection to Bigfoot with the paranormal? And I'm talking about spiritual, the spirits, the ghosts, the feeling like people a medium could walk into a house and they could feel a ghost there and all that. You feel that there's a place for that in your Bigfoot world?
Me personally, I don't.
Okay.
They're separate things to me. I believe in the spirit realm. I've had my fair share of my experiences in my life. But I can only go off of what my personal experience was and what my worldview has kind of shown me in my research. What I saw was closer to like a hominid looking type, which like I liken it to the most I liken it to outside of that picture that I have for my podcast art, the page art, would be like the old school OG Planet of the Apes look, that human but ape application to it. It looked like a human to me. It wasn't a human. I shouldn't say it looked like a human. It looked like a ape human. It looked like an ape with human features, is what I'm trying to say. And so in my mind, but there was also things attributed to that where I'm 50-50 on whether I was mind spoken to or not. I experienced infrasound and then was mind spoken to. I feel 100% that I experienced infrasound for sure, because I was sitting around camp and I had a flip of emotion happen in a quick second. I was just hanging out, staring down at my fire, and I get this like feeling that I need to look over to my left shoulder, and so I look, and I'm staring at this tree, and to the right of the tree is this face sticking out, and one arm and one leg, and like half of like it's like split. The tree is splitting the body down the middle, or I'm sorry, the upper chest, because it's right leg. I didn't see its waist. It was kind of like exposed out, but I see this thing, and it was instantly like I got scared. The very first time I ever had any sort of experience was when I call blasted, and I heard a sound back, and the right side of my car got assaulted. The only way I can say it, like I had like a boulder or a Sasquatch or something come along and smack the side of my car super hard, but there was no dent. And that like fear, like I felt like I was going to die, instantly flooded me while I'm sitting around my fire. And I'm almost to the point of crying. I'm frozen stiff in my seat. I can't move. And as soon as I see this thing, and probably feels way longer, but probably 2-3 seconds after I make visual contact, and this fear floods over me, it switches to straight euphoria. And like I could have got up and started dancing around, but I was just stuck to my seat, glued with this like. Can I cuss on here?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
With this shit-eating grin on my face, dude, just like staring at the tree the whole time. Like I was staring at this face, and I would say I was probably staring at it probably close to 30 seconds or so. Maybe it's hard to tell the exact time, because I think I was in some sort of like a trance or something. I don't know. It like everything just like slowed down. It wasn't like the Matrix, like it's like slow, but it was like you could tell. Like I think it was just like my adrenaline running probably or something. I don't know. But so the flip of emotions is what I've heard that before from other people, and they attribute it to infrasound. So, matching that with my experience. But I felt this like pressure on like the top of my head, but it wasn't on my head. Like it wasn't like something was sitting there pushing down on my head. It was like on my brain, like it was like and when it wasn't uncomfortable, but it was there. I could feel it, and it felt unnatural. And it was like a thought, and I didn't hear a voice or anything. It was just like like you think to yourself. It was like that, but it wasn't me thinking it. And I say that like, how like, maybe not you guys, but for me, when I'm thinking, I can almost like hear myself talking to myself, like in my voice, and it was not my voice. It was like it was way different, and way different, and it said, "There's no reason to be afraid. We're only here to check you out." And that's all I got. And I just kind of like turn my head back over and just start staring down at the fire, shit-eating grin on my face still, just like not knowing what to think, not knowing what to do. I was numb. I was just dumb. Like I was there, but I wasn't there. It starts fading. The feeling starts fading. And this all probably took place in about a minute, I'm guessing, give or take. Again, I have no clue. I'm guessing. It starts fading, and I start getting like my wit about me. And I'm like, well, I want to make sure I'm seeing what I really want to, or I'm sorry, I didn't stare down the fire yet. Still staring at the tree, because at this point, I'm like, there's no way I'm really like, I'm seeing things. I've come to a tiny bit. I'm still like weird, but I've come to a little tiny bit, and I have my cell phone on my lap, and I scroll down on my cell phone. I had it perfect, and I had my podcast playing, so the screen was lit and active. It's a 2 swipe down once to get the sub menu, and then you pull it down all the way, and you can pull it down and get the flashlight app out. And I don't, just because I use my phone so much, I'm guessing, I don't know what to tell you. I can turn on my flashlight on my phone now, even to this day, with my eyes closed. Like it's just, muscle memory. And
right.
so I automatically like think to do this. I'm like, oh, I have a LED flashlight. It probably won't make much of a difference, but a LED flashlight might make big enough a difference to like illuminate a little bit more to make sure I'm seeing what I'm seeing. And so I'm staring at the tree, and I scroll down twice, and I click the button, and I don't know if the flashlight's on or not. It's buried in my leg with my screen facing up to the sky. And I'm staring at the tree this whole time still. My body is facing this way, and my head is jerked like this. And I'm not kidding you guys. The second I just like go to pick my phone up, this thing from the tree just like, but so fast, it was a blur. It was like, I'm a drummer. And so the only thing I can liken it to is a drumstick moving at like 320 beats per minute. Just like, but it was like, boom, gone. There was no noise. There's no smell. There's no sound. There was nothing involved. And I just kind of like stared out in the fire, zoning out, like not knowing what to do, as this feeling still subsiding from me. And I just like pick my jaw up off the ground, go to my car, and go to bed. Now the thing about that is super weird to this day. It's super weird. I have really bad insomnia. Like I will usually go through maybe two, maybe 3 podcast episodes before I wake up to turn them off. I instantly, dude, as soon as my head hit the pillow, I didn't even turn the podcast on. I was instantly asleep. And I didn't think anything of it. I thought it was strange, but I was just like, oh, you must be exhausted, like adrenaline pump or adrenaline dump, all this other stuff, And after hearing other people talk, I'm not quite positive that I didn't get hit with infrasound, because I've heard of other people that have been hit with infrasound are instantly like super sick. They get nauseous. They have like internal aches, and they get really tired afterwards. So, and I didn't feel any of those effects, the aches, the nausea, or anything like that. but I got extremely tired, which was way off par for what I normally do.
Yeah, they didn't hit you hard enough on purpose, of course. They didn't want to make you sick or nauseous. They probably just wanted to keep you calm, just like a cat's purr. And big cats can use infrasound. And I'm sure Sasquatch, they spray like cats. They could probably purr and create vibrations and have crystals in their brain that can just use their waves 100%. Yeah, I definitely think you were hit by infrasound. That's so crazy, man. Eryx, I think we have one of the best Bigfoot shows online. We have Tyler here, who's been touched by Sasquatch. We had Donnie Miller talk about it for 2 hours straight with crazy encounters. We just had Stacy Brown on here recently, and then we had Long Island Bigfoot, who is close with a New York Bigfoot named Bubba, and he's also established a connection with pretty much a whole clan. So we're just providing, and sharing stories. This is crazy. I love these kind of conversations, man. It's stapled in time now forever.
Yeah, but the reason I've even told any of that was to answer your question, was to explain that because of that situation, 50% of me, and I'll tell you why it's only 50 in a second, 50% of me believes in mind speak, which would mean I would believe in a connection, in a paranormal connection, because that's not natural. But I've also, with me, I'm scientific minded. I always try to disprove myself and disprove my theories. That's my whole objective. If I think something's suspicious, I instantly try to find every single reason to it. I'm very skeptical. I'm a skeptical believer. So after learning what kind of crazy, intense things our brains can cause us to experience and see in high stress situations and whatnot, you know what I mean? It's hard for me to say that there is a connection, because who's to say that my mind just didn't snap right then and there, or that I wasn't experiencing some like temporary, I don't know, something. I don't know.
Yeah, temporary psychosis or a mental breakdown or whatever they would want to label it as. But I don't think it was. There's so many stories that correlate. I think it was mind speak. I think these creatures have mind speak. I think humans have mind speak. I always say supernatural, guys, it's all waves in particle form. We can become waves. So our natural way, I think, is supernatural, and deja vu, dreams, electricity. A lot of people call it the woo in the Sasquatch thing, and I just want to fight all of them 100%. Like, I'm big on supernatural. We are supernatural. Everything under the firmament, everything in this earth is known, man. Coincidence is the only thing to never exist. So I think the ancient ones, of course, could tap into Earth's powers. Mother Nature, baby.
Yeah. See, Tyler, I have a goal. Okay, I have a goal. Now, this Horror Talk's not my main channel. My main big channel is the Gypsy Road channel. That's the bigger one. I was simulcasting last week, but they'll see this. I'll drop it all in there on the weekend.
Yeah, dark days. We'll get this.
My goal has always been that if you ever watch my channel, I do different topics every show. Matrix one show, UFOs one show, paranormal, Bigfoot, whatever. I need to get you on that channel one day. And my goal is try to get everybody together. Now, of course, it's impossible, but if I get percentages of everybody together, because my goal has always been, if we have some UFO people, if we have some paranormal people, cryptic creatures, whatever, and start hearing everybody's stories, and then that's where you start getting your connections, my God, I have this experience here. Because the problem is, you probably see this, Tyler, there's a lot of channels that if I'm in the Bigfoot community, that's it. I don't believe in all the communities. I have had people from the UFO community yell at me because I did a show last week with Connor on there about where the big UFO sightings are, and we did Bigfoot sightings to see if they kind of match up. People are like, you can't add those together. I'm like, yes, you can. we were all looked down at. Every community is looked down at with people out there. I mean, let's just be honest. They are. People, Bigfoot, you're crazy. Paranormal, you're crazy. Connor, you're crazy. So it's important that all these communities to start to really join, support each other. Bigfoot might not have to be your main thing, but it doesn't mean you can't support a Bigfoot channel, UFO channel. And I always want to be the channel that has it all in one. What is he burning?
Sorry. Absolutely. I love you, Connor.
And that's what I like about Connor, because Connor, on his own channel, he just doesn't talk about Bigfoot.
Right.
That crazy son of a bitch will go to the Cheapers Creepers jailhouse. I love shit like that. I love offset. Now, some people say, well, Eric, YouTube, you got to stick with the same thing. That's where people come back. Well, there's people like that, but then I don't want those people. I want the people that's going to be open-minded to everything. You don't have to believe, like I said, you don't have to believe everything in the paranormal. You have to believe everything in UFOs, but at least have an open mind and listen to people's stories, because
so
you're not going to get the truth from the media. You're not going to get the truth majority of the social media, news channels, CNN, Fox, but people like you, people like Connor, blue-collar workers, that's where you're going to get your truth.
Yeah, I've been called a hypocrite several times because of this, but it is what it is, and it's not, in my opinion, it's not hypocritical at all. But for coming from a scientific aspect that I take Sasquatch research from, I believe in UFOs. I've always believed in UFOs, and I'm confused about the UFO Sasquatch connection. That's what I'll say about that. Now, the reason people have called me hypocrite is because I'll sit there and support keeping those subjects separate for the sole fact of when Sasquatch is proven and it comes to the scientific world and they start researching, they're not good, like anything with any sort of paranormal connection. Unfortunately, it's the way it is. Yeah. They're instantly going to dismiss. Now, non-researcher Tyler, I think that there is a connection. I think that there's something worth looking at, because there's far too many accounts of people talking about that. Far too many.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Like researcher.
That's why I like you, Tyler. That's why I like you. You said something very important in your stories that Bob and I say it all the time. My brother on my other channel say all the time. You should try to debunk everything. You should try to figure it out, an excuse, a reason for it. Because once you tried that, once you're left with where you just can't explain no more, then that's where the truth is. Mm-hmm. But you should 100%. Debunk out. We all know 90% of UFOs are all fake. Pictures are fake. But what if that 1%? What if that one?
All it takes is one.
Tyler, could you tell us about your UFO incident, the famous blue light?
Sketches want one from you, Connor.
Yes, have one for you. Yes. And that was a dab, guys. If you guys know what dab is, wax, 710, oil, it's very good for you. And I support cannabis and legalization. It is good for your body. It's good for cataracts, cancer, anxiety, depression, insomnia, pretty much anything that anybody's having problems with. It helps you. And then there's good professionals out there and in this field and closer than we could ever imagine that are out there in the fields, doing scientific research. And I think there is a close link between cannabis and Sasquatch and the paranormal. I've heard so many stories of the skunk ape going on to, pot farms over in the Everglades and out in Oregon and Washington and taking right off the top of the cone, right where the most THC is. And yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And hemp, Delta 8, it's all, going to the forefront. CBD, CBG. I just remember being scorned for it. And now it's in shampoos. Now they sell it at Dollar General. It's everywhere, guys.
It's the new alcohol, man.
100%. And I definitely support it. And I want people to try it if they are having problems with opioids or pills or any other pain. You know, if you have nerve pain, definitely try a gummy. It's very cool and interesting. And if you like hiking, try to intertwine it. I always find a second burst of energy, and Ninja Ronnie would always be like looking at me, and it's like, bro, I'm invincible for the next 2 hours. Yes.
Yeah, I have a couple of different UFO experiences. Well, I don't know if they were UFOs, but one of them was coming down off of where I had my sighting at. It was a lake in outside of Estacada. It doesn't matter. I'll say it now because you can't even get up there right now. It's called Tumala Lake. So it's on Tumala Mountain, and it's used to be called Squaw Lakes, and it's actually two lakes. It's one giant field with a logging road set in the middle, and there's they had flooded. Now, one of them is completely dried up, and the other one has the lake's been receding down in the ground. So there's little creeks going through the grass. It's very boggy, and that's happened within the past 2 years. So it's very quick acting ground up there. But anyways, I'm coming down off that mountain, and I'm on the phone with my mom, letting her know that I'm coming back into town because I always have somebody I let know if I'm going into the woods and all that kind of stuff. And I come around this corner, and as soon as I come around the corner, I see this like green blue like glob of light just floating through the trees. And I'm like, I slam on my brakes. I'm like, whoa! On the phone with my mom, I'm like, I swear I just saw like a globe of light. She's like, no, you didn't. Like, no, you didn't see. No, that's probably just reflection off your windshield. I'm like, I'm in the woods. What is reflecting off of my windshield that's blue? Like a blue-green tint. So that was pretty crazy. And then it was like 2 months ago. I was in Bend. I was in Bend. No, I was out on the outskirts of Bend, Oregon. Which is a super hot spot for UFOs, I guess. And we had pulled down into this like deserted, wooded area to camp for the night. It was like midnight. We were going up to the lake. We were going up to a lake to kayak around and paddle around and get the warm springs on the lake and all this stuff. And so we were at camp, and we got everything set up. And about 2 hours later, so it's about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I got my Louisville Slugger bat out of my car, went over to a tree to find a tree because there had been a couple of Sasquatch sightings within the past like 20 years out in that area. Not many, but some. And so I gave it a ring, and the first thing I noticed, dude, when I hit the tree was it sounded like it sounded hollow. Not the tree, the sound that came out off the tree, the sounded very hollow. And all of a sudden I realized it echoed. Like a very, very, and me and my two other friends noticed that as well. And it echoed very much so. Like we were in a desert with trees, and it echoed like we were in a metal room. And I'm like, what the hell, you guys? And they're like, shrugging their shoulders like, we don't know. And so I gave a Ohio howl, and it reverbed back, echoed right back, dude.
You were in a force field, I think.
Same tinny sound, like, and right around that time, I was like, dude, that's super weird. So I went to go get my flashlight out of my car, my LED beamed flashlight, and I'm like zoning around the road. We're in the desert. There's a road in the desert, and it's like trees on the left side. There it is. Trees on the left side. The road's right here, and then on the opposite side of the road, there's like sparse trees with a little tiny campground here, and then just like more sparse trees and into open desert. There's nothing, dude. We're probably 8 to 12 miles away from the nearest town. And like we're on the outskirts of, like, we're in the desert out in Bend. And I'm zoning around and I see eye shine probably like 60 yards down the road, like in a tree. Like, they're not trees, but they're like, you know, little desert trees, or desert bush type of thing. And I see it, and I don't remember what color. I remember it was like a greenish, maybe tint. I don't remember exactly the color of I'd have to ask my two friends, but I shined my LED light at this bush just zoning through, and I catch it, and I'm like, whoa. And I go back to it, and I'm staring at it. I'm like, Olin, do you see that? Michael, do you see that? Mike, check this out. Mike instantly saw it, and Olin took too long to see it, because as soon as Mike saw it, he's like, what, dude? And I was like trying to move the light to see if there was anything else. As soon as I moved the light back, I moved the light off its eyes, trying to scan around, moved it back, and I couldn't find the eye shine again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell, dude? And I'm trying to find it. And all of a sudden, like, out of like the edge of the light, like it's barely, you can barely see the edge of the light. You just see like a, like, across the road to the other side of like where the little tiny campground is, and it goes into open desert. And I was like, oh, okay, oh, dude, it was just a white-tailed, it was just a deer, dude. Like, you know, like instantly, like, I don't know what the hell. And so we just went about business, nothing else. The echo's still illuminating everything, like, you know, anytime we talk, anything like that. And we wake up the next morning, dude, and there was no fucking echo. There was no echo. I was like, what? I did a wood knock. It was a normal, like, sound like we were knocking in the woods, dude. We whistled, screamed. There was no echo. Now, when I first woke up, my buddies woke me up, and I got out of my car because I was car camping. Got out of my car, and they're like, dude, you got to come. Or like, dude, we found these prints. Dude. I was like, what? And so they were instantly telling me about it. They said it was like, they're like square. It was like a rectangular square about like that. It's hard to, about two inches across, or like long, and like probably the size of like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's a bottle of new skin for anyone who can tell. Anyways, yeah, dude. And so I'm like, what, dude? So they're cooking their breakfast, and I start walking down the road, like not that far, 60 yards. And I think I found the tree that I thought I was pointing the light at, and I never found the tracks, ever. So from a time and point that they walked down the road like an hour and a half earlier, maybe hour and a half tops, before I woke up, to the time and point I walked down there, those tracks just gone. Like, I don't know if, like, I believe them. They've never lied to me. They have no reason to lie. Like, they don't play tricks on me. And especially when it comes to this type of subject, they already know not to mess with me with that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I have no explanation for that. But I personally, in my opinion, believe that I had my flashlight shined on a freaking alien that night.
Well, you said a color in your in your story earlier, the blue color. And the reason I'm bringing that up is my brother, we did a show talking about UFOs, and a lot of people were bringing up the blue color. So it's kind of neat that you probably never watched our shows like about the UFOs in the past. So you had no reason to say the blue color. There's something about the blue color that keeps popping up now in a lot of people's stories. This is why we do these shows, because the connection, the blue color.
That's an average color that I've heard from witness accounts.
A lot of people are bringing up the blue color now.
Either green, red, or blue.
Yeah, I've heard green a lot too. Red, not so much, but the green
No,
and blue
yeah,
are the
sparks.
most.
Yeah.
My
yeah,
weird
it's
UFO incident was orange, but I guess that could fall under the red classification. Me and my best friend Jake in the backyard, we were just stargazing. I don't even think we were on psychedelics this time, but every time you use psychedelics, you definitely see UFOs, and you see that the sky is much more alive and there's much more out there that the eye could see. But after a few minutes, we noticed this orange light, and like after a while, we said, "Yo, you see that?" And then once we noticed it, it changed into a line, and it felt like it was like trying to take over our minds. We had to snap out of it, and it was just very mild but very weird at the same time. And I always feel like it's somewhere up there, watching. And it might be myself, it might be an ET, who knows? It might be a deity from above, a fallen angel, or an angel just waiting for me.
Dude, last time I was, I think it was 2 weekends ago, I was up at my camp with I had my cousin Dustin come up to my camp. He's from the Oregon coast, and it's like probably 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. We're just like sitting there around camp, staring up in the sky, sky gazing or stargazing and watching dude, there's so many. I'm so far up. There's no lights. You can see meteors all night long, dude. It's freaking crazy.
That is awesome.
But we're sitting there, and out of the blue, it startled us. It was just like you heard, like you almost heard, but felt like a explosion almost. And coming down, dude, out of the heavens was this like bright light. There was an asteroid or something coming down, but it had a tail, dude, and the tail streaked all the way across. It was like a bluish purple, like orange, like fluorescent color coming on. It was crazy. And I looked at my cousin. I was like, that wasn't an asteroid.
Yeah. I don't know. I find like meteorites all the time, and you know me, I don't believe in any of that NASA BS. All the planets that we know are in Earth's system, and there's thousands of continents, and Admiral Byrd found, mammoths and luscious jungles beyond the poles. So what the heck are these magnetic space rocks that I keep finding? And what did you just see in the air? And what is the ISS light when they tell us it's the ISS? Because it's definitely not the footage they're giving us. It's not a space shuttle. It's something that maybe they have timed up with a treaty with the extraterrestrials. But yeah, that's pretty crazy, man. And just to see that, especially with a family member, that's cherishable. That's meant to be.
I might be going down the Oregon coastline in a couple of weeks. Might be going down to Lincoln City.
I'm moving my base camp there in 2 months.
Oh, are you really?
Yeah. Well, between there and Tillamook.
Tillamook, yep. Get the free ice cream. Go to the ice cream place. Get the free
ice cream, and then go research Bigfoot.
Yeah, I love Lincoln City. We like staying there. The ocean's beautiful down there.
Dude, check out Devil's Lake.
Devil's Lake, okay.
It's the what is that area called? It's the Drift Creek Road Wilderness. Drift Creek Wilderness. Drift Creek Falls.
Coastline is beautiful. Cannon Beach. It's freaking
Check out
awesome.
Drift Creek
Cannon
Falls.
Beach is the famous Goonies, Three Rocks.
Mm-hmm.
Where of course you watch the movie The Goonies, they go from the town to those rocks like nothing. Where that's like 20, 30 miles down the road.
Yeah, I know.
Movie magic. But the Goonies, and then you add in Twilight, up a little bit north of there.
Yeah.
But that's magical, and I'm big on all films have ties to our reality. And just to get back on Tremors just for a second, because I love Tremors so much. But Tyler, thanks again for joining us, because this conversation is so magical, and I'm looking forward to everybody seeing this in the future, because your knowledge is so beyond the norm. And I definitely think you should go on Bigfoot Odyssey. Your style would be accepted tenfold more than my rambling, but you are very calm and collected and are very descriptive with all your encounters, and I'm very thankful, man. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. I love getting my story out there. I love meeting other researchers and podcasters and media producers and YouTubers, and it's awesome, dude. So yeah.
Heck yeah, man. And you're bold too. You hopped on Mongolian Monster a couple weeks ago when I sent you the link. So I love that. And all the people in our online research team, when I do that, when I post the link, I want you guys to get your names out there, because once you're on these shows, it's a certified stamp, at least a little bit more. It's a discussion. It's personable. It's vulnerability, and it takes a special type of bravery. And yes, thank you. But real quick, I just want to run on some real quick things that are in my head about Tremors. Tremors 1, classic. We all know it. Kevin Bacon,
yeah.
Fred Ward, and then you got Burt Gunner, he's in all 7 movies.
Bacon, baby. Kevin
show.
Bacon.
And then the second one, Fred Ward came back, and it takes place in Mexico, and they hire him kind of as an assassin. The third one, they go back to the city of perfection where it all started, and you get a lot of the original cast members. Then the fourth one goes back to the Western days, which is really funny.
Cool.
You get it's a prequel. You get the descendants of Bert and a lot of the other family members. The Spanish dude that owns the mart, you see his family and descendants, and of course there's a bunch of foreshadowing. And then you get a bunch of other ones like Aftershocks and Bloodline and Shrieker Island, and it's very cool because each of them have their different reasons. John Heder, who he played Napoleon Dynamite, he's in one of them. Jamie Kennedy.
He's in the island, the part 7, the island.
Shrieker Island. Yeah, and then Jamie Kennedy, who was Malibu's Most Wanted, he's freaking awesome. He was in 2 of them, and he's, I think, Bert's like nephew. But then in Bloodlines, you actually get the daughter of the 2 main characters in the first one, Kevin Bacon and the seismograph, scientists. And it's so cool that you get to see it all unfold. And then there was a TV show that you get to see the ass blasters and then the graboids and all the other type of creatures really on full display. But then there was also a freaking pilot and a bunch of signatures trying to bring back Tremors, and they actually filmed it with Kevin Bacon. But it got scrapped. I don't think it was for the content, because it was there, man. It just bring graboids and Kevin Bacon and you can do anything. I think it was all paperwork and the Men in Black, the suits. But there is trailer on YouTube of the freshest Tremors, but somewhere out there on the web you can watch the trailer or the pilot, and that is really important. And I hope one day that it gets made into a full project, and maybe we'll be a part of it because we're the crypto research officers. 100%.
Shudder now. Shudder is a great horror streaming service. Good place for it.
100%.
I remember watching Tremors in 1990. I saw it at the movie theaters, and I remember going to watch it, and I was like, "Holy shit! This is an old-fashioned horror movie. Old-fashioned monster movie. More than a slasher. Because at that time you still had the Jasons, the Nightmares, and all that. But this was an old-fashioned monster movie. The comedy, the humor." And who did not like Kevin Bacon with that hat and, the 2 blue collar workers, they had that tank pumping up the shit and it squirts all over them. I mean, everybody remembers that job. You hate it and you want to get the hell out of that town. You want to get out.
Valentine McKee. And all the deaths were awesome in that first one. The guy climbs up to the top of the tower because he doesn't want to get eaten. The other guy gets sunken into the ground and you only see his face. What about the couple, the doctor? He gets sucked right in front of his wife, and then the wife goes in the station wagon and she gets sucked underground completely. Oh, it's so classic. And then you got the badass Melvin, the teenage kid that's always causing a ruckus. And I always, found myself, seeing a reflection of him and me. And yeah, it's so classic. And then Bert, and then the first one had Reba, but then, they couldn't bring her back. So they had her get divorced. Man, yeah. I love Tremors. It is definitely one of my favorite movies, and that it's a creature feature, and that this is my profession in life now. It's like it's come full circle, man.
Yeah, and when you were talking about the marijuana stuff, coming back and all that, it reminded me of a video that I did, the horror movie. Let me see here. I'm not gonna play it, but I did a video. It's down here on the right. I try to prove to people that the remake Friday 13, 2009, that Jason Voorhees is actually a cartel drug lord. And yes, yeah, I know, sounds crazy. It sounds crazy.
No, it's awesome.
I made my case, and it's only 58 minutes. I'm not gonna play it, but Dr. Wu was on this. I'm gonna put the link in there, that I tried my best to prove to people that the Friday 13, 2009 is actually a movie about Jason protecting the wheat fields.
Dude, you got to put that on Reddit. That should have like 276,000 views.
And I think I made a good case, because the first kill is in the marijuana fields.
Is this totally your original idea?
With all the murders, why did the cops ignore the area? How come they didn't research more? They know it's drug lord. They're all paid off. Jason is paid to protect his crops. And I think I made a damn good not evidence, but trying to prove my point that 2009 Friday 13 movie is a drug lord movie, and he's a drug king.
Did you find this like a part of a collective, online with research, or you came up with this yourself just from watching it?
No, it's all me.
Oh, that is incredible. I have to watch that. That is awesome, man.
All me.
That should have so many views. Like, that is an incredible just thought. And I hope someone makes a fan film of that idea right there. Like, it's already been made. It's right there, but they should really go hardcore with the background.
I think I made a good case on why it's a drug lord movie. I really did. Why? Listen, when people die above a fire, and all that, and there's DNA everywhere, Jason would have been arrested and killed unless the police are paid off. Well, thank you, Daniel. The music video rock. I appreciate that. Because of that music video, some people text me and they said, Eric, I didn't realize Tremors had 7 movies. And then I watched your little music video. Now I'm seeing all these different Tremor movies in it. That's why I do it.
Yeah, it was awesome. You did a good job collecting it. But guys, Tremors is not the only movies that had these Mongolian monster worms, these bloodsuckers. Let me name a few other ones that had these other creepy crawlers. All right, guys. The Hobbit, Battle of the Five Armies. Those giant freaking worms that the orcs ride out on. That was pretty cool. Yeah. King Kong, as we said. Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back. Dune, as we mentioned on the other show, because they had
the spice. And what was spice? Worm urine.
Worm urine, yes. And then Love and Monsters, one of my favorite movies in the past few years. Dude, watch that next. That's one of my favorite movies. I've rewatched that movie, and I'm big on just trying to spread my wings as much as possible. I don't rewatch movies that often unless they're classics. Like I rewatched Tremors this morning, just to freshen up. Of course, I didn't have time to watch all 7 of them. But I did watch Tron and Tron Legacy as well. But Beetlejuice as well, guys. We all remember the scary snake-like worm with a huge wide mouth and its gothic style. And I love that. That's the cartoon comic book world, like Dr. Wu would say, man. James and the Giant Peach, a little different worm approach, but it also gave a little bit of life to the worm. Men in Black, the worm people, those little worm guys, of course. Poltergeist 2, I mentioned that earlier. The Mongolian.
Where was the worms in Poltergeist 2? I'm trying to remember.
Well, first there was a worm in the tequila, and they were like forced to drink it. But then one of the demons kind of had like a worm-like appearance, kind of like Pumpkinhead. If you Google it, you'd be able to see. It's definitely scary. And it was crazy because me and Daniel, who I showed on that one podcast, he's a host of Shedzilla, and then he goes by Captain Dan Rum on TikTok. He was telling me about it, and then I literally had like a flashback of watching it as a kid and, just seeing the blurred scenes. But then the Mongolian death worms, there's actually a movie called that, and I think it's also got a name called Sand Serpents. It's got like a 2.9 on IMDb, but it also has Sean Flannery from Boondock Saints in it. So if you love Boondock Saints and you love the Mongolian death worm, you could sit through it, for an hour and 29 minutes. But you can watch all the kills on YouTube and just like a condensed version. Definitely check it out. It's hilarious. It's a bad sci-fi film. Also, the gulp worm in Resident Evil Code Veronica on the PS2, which is crazy. The gulp worm is super scary. Link to the Past and Zelda, there is this type of worm that would follow you around. Very cool. Time Splitters, Future Perfect, also had these killer worms that you'd have to shoot. And then the TV show Fringe, the episode Bound, would have earthworms in the mouth, and then it would take you over. Weird, different personalities of worms. And it's always something very, I don't know, they're self-sufficient, man. I think they're asexual. So when you tell a worm to go F itself, there will be about 10 of them after. But yeah, get some soil, get some plants, get some worms. It's magical. My mom's always buying worms to fish. I go through times that I don't like, killing the worms and putting them on the hook, and I don't know, man. It's a roller coaster of sensitive things in this world. I feel bad killing bugs, and like when I dump my garbage, I try not to kill frogs. Well, that's understandable, but now, feeling bad about stepping on the grass is a little bit.
You're forgetting a major movie with the worm in it.
What is it?
I'm gonna share the screen with you. See if you can figure it out.
Oh, Charlotte's Web. Oh, Slither. Oh, yes, that is a good one. How did I not find that on my research? That's a good one.
These little worms. They get in people's bodies. They turn them into zombies, like a mindless creature.
Yeah. Apparently, and for some reason, I was thinking about Michael Rooker earlier, and Michael Rooker's in this movie, so everything's linked.
Also a worm in the movie Labyrinth.
I'm
trying to find it. I can't find a picture of it.
Good old David Bowie.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, soon, I actually found a locust today. If I find another dead locust, I'm going to eat it on TikTok because years ago, I ate a locust for a football card, for a Lawrence Maroney jersey card, a rookie jersey card, and it was worth like $60 at the time. It's probably worth like $6 now.
There it is. I found it.
But it wasn't that bad, so I think it would be cool. But I'm not going to kill a locust.
There you go.
I'm going to teach the people about it, and then I'm going to eat it at the end. It's kind of like the other day when I jumped off the bridge. I'm going to teach the people about the bridge and then jump. Oh, yeah, that's right there. That's perfect.
Labyrinth, the worm.
Yes.
And even you see me call it Labyrinth worm.
That's incredible.
There's more worms in movies than we thought.
Yeah, I want to see some more like animated worms. I'm sure some are in like Bug's Life and ants. But yeah, that's very cool.
And I'm trying to think. Wasn't there in Shazam, the movie Shazam, the wasn't that a worm that was talking at the end? Was Remember in the cave, there was a cage, and there's a worm that's a major part of the Shazam universe. Maybe I'm thinking something else. I don't know.
Yeah, you might be thinking of Sinbad's Shazam movie that is a
That's what I
Mandela.
was gonna say.
Yeah, Tyler, Gypsy Road and Dr. Wu is very big on Mandela effects. What do you think about that phenomenon?
To be honest with you, man, I haven't looked too much into it. I know a little bit about like the idea of it, but
maybe you did and you forgot.
There it is. 2019 Shazam movie, the Mr. Mind scene.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know if that was wiped from my brain or
Mastermind
I'm just too
Shazam.
faded. No, that's crazy. That's really cool. That links to Men in Black as well, just from First Vibrations.
In the comics.
Shazam was crazy, man.
Yeah. And remember, this worm is a mastermind. And remember in the movie when he first went into the cave, you saw the mastermind behind the scenes in the cage. Then at the end, that mastermind worm was talking to that the enemy that they defeated.
That's wild. That's kind of reminds me of there's a Mongolian death worm in SpongeBob as well.
What?
Yeah, the Alaskan bullworm. It's where Sandy walks into.
Is there worms in Beetlejuice? Yeah, well, Beetlejuice itself turned into a worm. And there was a big worm when they opened that door, and there was that worm in that desert.
Yup. Even maybe an Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. There might be worms in that one too.
So there's a lot of worms everywhere. So and guys, we're basically at the end of the show. So anybody in the chat tomorrow on the Gypsy Road channel, we're going to be breaking down the Matrix world with the movies Free Guy and the movie Tron. On how are they telling us that we're living in a Matrix? Is there clues that we're living in a Matrix? Are we in a video game? Are we? Is this world even real or not? I don't know, people. We're going to find out tomorrow on the Gypsy Road channel.
Yes, I'm super pumped for that show. I think Journey from the Other Side is supposed to be joining us, and that is Buck. And he is a Sasquatch researcher that has popped off on frickin' TikTok and YouTube. And I'm just honored to be, a friend of his. And he probably feels the same way. And I love when we inspire each other. And I'm really looking forward to that. I'm going to message him and tell him to at least watch Tron tonight. I don't know if he will have access to Free Guy. But, yes, I loved Free Guy. And, guys, the last name of Tron, where are they playing at? What's the arcade shop called, guys? What?
Flynn.
It's called Flynn's, bruh. Yeah, Flynn's. So this shit has been written out. And I've swore on this episode more than I have on the last 30 episodes I've done with people. But it really gets me wild going, this late at night when too many things align, it all gets me going in my feels, And Free Guy, we are all free guys. And all these NPCs that want to talk, on Reddit and try to badmouth us on our voodoo episode, get real. Oh my God.
Yep. Oh, I love Free Guy. But I do got to correct people because a lot of people are saying Free Guy is the original story. No, it's not. Free Guy is Tron. And I'm going to tell you guys tomorrow on identically on how Free Guy is basically Tron. It's just in a modern day. The characters are almost identical with both movies. I'll prove that tomorrow.
I'm excited. We'll have to do one episode about how Snowpiercer and Willy Wonka are basically the two same movies. It's been done before. People have already pointed that out, but it would be a cool phenomenon to get into. But while I'm talking real quick, just so we don't have to kill the pace, I want everybody to check out Eerie Swamps, Road Trip to Eden, Monsters and Mysteries Around the Corner, Big Brother, Bigfoot, and my newest book that I still haven't got a hard copy of. It's called Panhandle Pirates, and I'm really proud of that one. It's the longest book. So there's tons of new adventures in there and all my new findings. And it's really like a Florida, Georgia, Alabama mapped out adventure. So I'm definitely going to take that and run with it in this area. If you like movies and corny sci-fi, I am in the movie Zillafoot. It is hilarious. But more importantly, I am filming a scary short film with Jack McClellan for that film festival. And man, he's killing it on the props, so I'm super excited. I just got to show up, and I know the rest of the script will just write itself. But Tyler, tell the people where they could find you. And again, just thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, your wisdom, your encounters, and your time with us.
Yeah, you can find me on any of your podcast streaming platforms that you use. And on YouTube at Bigfoot and the Citizen Scientist Podcast YouTube page. And I'll give a little plug, or I'll give a little sneak peek to your guys' audience. Anyone who knows who C. Wayne Wilson is, extremely highly controversial person. I'm actually in the works of editing my interview with him, which will be coming up next. So that was a pretty crazy long, super long interview. Was a good interview.
I've seen some of Wayne Wilson's videos, and I've seen his Facebook page. Definitely cool and controversial. I don't know his beliefs 100%, but I've definitely seen that he ruffles people's feathers. So I'm gonna check that out. That'll be super cool. That's awesome.
That sounds cool.
Keep an eye out for that. But
and I didn't do it tonight. I was gonna mention about what I thought of Don't Breathe Part 2, because I did go see that, but I'll save that for Thursday.
Yeah, I don't want any spoilers. I've been waiting a long time to see that movie, and my dang cinemas here don't have it. Maybe the ones up in Dothan or Tallahassee will. Oh, I know they have it, but I don't know if it will time up with me. But I need to see that movie. Don't Breathe 2, man.
I'm gonna spoil the shit out of it. This is what happened. No, I won't do that. I won't do that. The storyline is probably going to shock you.
Yeah, I'm super excited, man. Stephen Lang is such a freaking good actor, and then I'm sure the kid actor is going to be incredible because they always recruit the best talent.
The only thing I'm going to say is it's not a horror movie. It's more of a First Blood type of movie. That's all I'm going to say.
All right, that's
all
cool.
I'm going to say. It's more First Blood. So beyond that, guys, we're going to end the show. I think everybody's tired, ready to hit the bed. So beyond that, guys, see you tomorrow. See some of you on Thursday. And then, of course, Friday is going to be a paranormal show on the Gypsy Road channel. So beyond that, we'll see everybody later. Have a good night, everybody.
Peace, guys.